Thomas, tell us about the two horses you're riding today.
I have two horses today. One is Amoresho, he's a by Numeruno. He's jumped at this level for the last season as well. He's been placed in a few of them last season. I had my first outing on the Premier Series last week in Oma. I was fourth place with my other horse, Hector. He was very good. He's only an 8-year-old stallion. I had him away there in Lisbon, and he was away in Spain. He got placed in a few good classes there as well.
So you'd say your horses are in good form at the moment for today?
Yeah, my horses are in very good form. I'm looking for a good result today, hopefully get a few points on the leaderboard. I have 6 points from last week, so I'd like a top 3 place today, hopefully.
Now, the aforementioned Hector. I know even Tomas doesn't try to pronounce that surname. I think I've given up for fear of offending the Dutch people of this island. And pick up with them on this line. 4AB down to 5. Certainly not lacking talent and scope, that is for sure. Dog leg left-handed. You see Hector doing quite a bit of messing about in between the jumps. It's really quite off-putting. Speaking from personal experience, I had one who did that quite a bit. Just when you land, they buck and plunge, and you lose just a little bit of distance every time, but more importantly, you lose the flow and the rhythm of the track. It just breaks a rider and horse's concentration. Drifting out quite a bit left, down to our sports studbook, and just causing it. There you go, a bit too close, front rail down. And I think that's enough to keep him out the jump off. In fact, it is 4 faults. Now on to another new face. We've got Valentin Besmar riding Z7 Cordanas V. Quite an unusual name. This is a new partnership, as well as being a new face. The horse landed in the country back in June. Valentin's been riding it ever since. And this is his first Premier Series with the horse. Horse certainly not lacking any jump, that's for sure. Now, sometimes it can take weeks, perhaps even months, for a partnership to consolidate. And in fact, this pair go on and have a clear round, 84.12, so we'll see them feature in the jump-off. As we move on to Liam O'Mara riding Mr. Cool Cam. Bit of a change of heart coming to the first fence there. Things obviously weren't in tip-top order. So on we go. Liam's produced this one up through the ranks. Horse really likes to attack his fences. It's quite a bit of hardware in the front end. It's amazing. I'm seeing the little differences in how these horses are riding on the grass. So most of our competitions are held on artificial surfaces. And it's actually rare these days you actually get the opportunity to jump on grass. But the major shows was like Dublin, Aachen, and so on. You will be competing on grass. Really well measured up to the parallel there, Liam. Certainly. Here's a combination who are well familiar with one another. Liam has had some pretty good scores and pretty good results in this horse. Now, is he going to get into the jump off? We've quite a few through already. It's certainly hot enough to be a really good jump off round. Powering down to the parallel, coming to the last, bring him back steady. It's a tall upright coming out. And clear he is, clear all the way, 76-71. Now let's pop over to Avril, who has an interview with Liam himself.
Joining me now is Liam O'Meara. Liam, you've been on really good form lately, haven't you?
Yeah, I've having a good run. The horse is on good form, so hopefully it stays going.
You did really well in jumping in the city recently. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it was really lucky for me. I was placed in the Grand Prix the first week, and I won the 3 presences, so it was great. It was good.
That must have been fantastic prize money to be taking home with you.
Oh yes, it's great. No, it was a God's gift now this year. It was mighty. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the horse you're riding today in the Premier Series.
Yeah, Mr. Coolcam there. I have him since he's 3-year-old. He won the Munster Grand Prix last Saturday. He was 4th yesterday in the National. He's in good form, so fingers crossed he goes well today.
Back to the jumping action we go with Frances Connors riding Earn Lady Goldilocks. This one by VDL Douglas out of a mare by Some Touch. Here's a man I would definitely emulate. I would love to be like in my riding style and technique. One of the maestros. Unfortunately, we're picking up with him late in the track as he comes down the last line. This horse's first Premier Series. And Frances rides him through to a clear round and into the jump off.
Frances, talk us through your round there today. Went pretty well.
Well, I was very happy. Lady Goldilocks, that's her first Premier Grand Prix, and to start off with a clear round, I was delighted. She's been jumping really well. She's been placed in a couple of National Grand Prix the last few weeks, so it was nice to step up and still jump a clear round.
On to our previous week's winner. This is Daniel Coil riding Zuidam. Daniel lying in equal 5th on the riders' leaderboard. Certainly, if he does well today, that'll really consolidate him at the top of the leaderboard for the second half of the series. Zuidam, the stallion. Quite, you don't want to say pony-esque in between his fences, really comes back, shortens up, adding in extra strides here and there. And this is another long-term partnership. Daniel knows this horse inside out, knows where he can make up time, where he can cut a corner, where he can, and particularly you want to see this pair go against the clock, and hopefully we'll see them against the clock today. All that energy. Stays him back for the combination and springs off the ground. Another one full of go, full of vim and vigour. Coming down the last line, twisting a little bit over the green and white upright, and drifts a little right, back on the steady. And yes, into the jump off he goes, clear all the way, 81.16.
I'm just catching up now with Daniel Coil, last week's winner of the TRM Horseware Premier Series in Omagh. Daniel, clear again today, you must be really pleased.
Yeah, I said to you in Omagh last week, he's been off form for a while, but he's came back on it today and he jumped good.
And what's going to be the strategy for the jump off now?
Just treat it like a Grand Prix and try and win it.
Now we catch up with Ger O'Neill riding the 9-year-old gelding Go For It. They've done a couple of Premier Series already, 16 faults at Louth though, 6 at Omagh, but clear on a couple of 1m50 rounds and jumping in the city. Ger catch me out a little bit today. Wearing the grey jacket, it's a new jacket, so you get to recognise riders. How's he going to fare today? Coming down the combination, and in fact I can tell you he goes on and has a clear round. We'll catch up with that clear round in part 4 of the programme. Now we're going to move on to the next of our riders, and this is Alexander Butler riding the stallion Hallowberry Cruise. I have said in the past, this is one of my lotto winning horses. If I win the lotto, I want to buy this one, if he's for sale, that is. Super talented stallion. Tons of scope. And you have confidence to say at some stage you might even see this one feature on a Nations Cup team. Wouldn't that be something? In fact, I can tell you is another one that'll have a clear round, 84.78, and so we'll catch up with him in the jump off as we go on to Arval now, who has a chat with Kathryn Thornton.
Kathryn, the stallion you're riding today, he's been very consistent for you.
He has, yes. He's been very consistent all year, especially at the 140 level. This is a slightly different ball game, but we'll give it a go anyway.
And as a stallion, is he easygoing?
He can be. That's him. You can hear in the background. So he's, he is a stallion. He knows he's a stallion. So, all the time we're working on keeping him calm and not letting him get distracted. You never want to forget that he's a stallion. But with regards to being able to manage him and behavioural wise, he's excellent. He's very, very good.
Now let's see this duo in action. Kathryn Thornton and the stallion Derry Inver Luxury Cruise. Kathryn lying in second place on the leaderboard. That's a good place to be halfway through a series. 5 strides up to the upright. Gets there a little dangerously, rattles the paintwork. Now she needs a solid performance today. A little bit of head tossing. Maybe spring has sprung for the stallion. Kicking out behind the second part of the double. Now, unfortunately for Kathryn, she has 2 fences down later on in her round, and that keeps her out of the jump off. Join us after the break for more action from Cork's Summer Show.